all. Okay. That's how we do the meeting. I mean, not completely differently, slightly different from our normal regular meeting. It's like literally like the open house we see when we buy a house, the real estate agent do hold a open house. That's what we see. They stage the house as well because they want to sell the house. We want to sell our club membership to our potential candidates. We want to show our best image of our club to the visitors. That's what I see the difference.
Thank you, Liping, for sharing that. Yes, it's a way to put our club on the stage and say, hey, come join us. Rhoda, do you have anything different since your club is a corporate club?
No, I think it's pretty similar for us at Toastmates. We consider an open house really a regular meeting. We have maybe just one speaker though, so that there is more time for guest Q&A. But the reason we like to hold a regular meeting with the prepared speech, the evaluation, all the functionary roles and table topics is to just give all guests, new member and new people new to Toastmasters, give them an opportunity to see what a real meeting would look like. I think the bigger differences are around at the beginning, we have maybe an introduction from the Toastmaster or another member giving a motivational speech, explaining how Toastmasters has helped them. This is really short speech, maybe 2 to 3 minutes long. And then we make sure that the table topics questions are what I like to call accessible. They're really easy to answer so that guests feel comfortable volunteering to give a table topics. Maybe something not as easy as what's your favorite color and why, but definitely not something like how do you end world poverty? Just something that's in the middle somewhere so that people feel comfortable giving it a talk. And then, as I mentioned, we do allow a little bit more time at the end of the meeting for Q&A.
Glad to know that too. Making sure everybody includes the Q&A section, gives them an intro into how a club meeting looks like, and also provide a specific introduction talking about Toastmasters for folks who may have no idea about it. So something all of us maybe should remember while organizing an open house. Thank you for sharing that. So having said that, we do understand what the difference is. How would you say you would go about planning an open house? How soon do you plan for an open house? Judy, would you want to go ahead and answer that?
Sure. I think depending upon how big of an open house you want to do, for us, we started our planning about 2 months in advance. We made the decision, yes, we want to do the open house. And then we sat down and talked about how we wanted to promote it and get the people in. It really does take about 2 months of planning because you really want to make sure you have a solid agenda. You've got all your roles filled with experienced Toastmasters, and that you've got your speech lined up and your table topics lined up. Like Rhoda was saying, having something that's easily accessible, being able to connect to people who don't know what Toastmasters is, takes a lot of thought and a lot of planning to do so. And as you get closer to the event, depending upon whether you're doing it hybrid or on campus or in person, you really want to make sure that your space is the right space. So for us, we're a hybrid space, and we did one event that was purely remote. And it was relatively successful, but our more successful event was actually our hybrid event, where we planned to have people come in-house and meet people in person and see what it was like. And we actually had the speaker standing up and speaking, which was a different feel from people sitting in front of their computer. And I feel like those two things really did kind of help with the planning and getting everything set and going.
Right. So while planning so much in advance, what are the first few aspects that you kind of focus on once you decide on the date? Maybe Hema, do you also plan in advance, and what are the first few things that start this planning process once the date is fixed?
Just like Judy mentioned, even our open house that we held last time, we had started planning pretty much about 2 months ahead, mainly because the first month kind of we need to plan out everything, get it ready. And then the second month is more about like socializing the event in the different areas, so we can get people to participate. So when we started the event, one of the first thing was coming out with a flyer. I think that's one thing that we wanted to do. So, and first deciding whether it's online. Ours is a hybrid club, so we decided whether it's going to be online or in person. And based on the team's, all the members' feedback, we decided to hold the first one online. So ours was an online meeting. And then we went about preparing the flyer so that we can start socializing the event with everyone. And parallelly, within the officers club, we started discussing, what kind of speakers we want to have, and what topics, like especially the table topics and the general evaluator, and like what Judy thought. Even our thought was like, the evaluators should be somebody with experienced Toastmasters from our club, because that's where, more than the speaker, I felt the evaluation gives the new members, the guests, actually, to know about our club and how the Toastmaster can actually help them and take them to the next level, right? So it's the evaluation, I feel, and the feedback that every time we participate in the meeting and the feedback we get, that's what helps take us to the next level. So yeah, preparing those, I think that's where we started. So initially the flyer, and then we started preparing the agenda and the details around that. So that's how we started around the event. Yeah.
Right. And can you share with us what are your preferred social media that you go ahead and share this flyer? How does the flyer get out?
Yeah, sure. So once we had the flyer in place, we started, Meetup is where we post our regular meetings. So initially we started on the Meetup. We did some posting on LinkedIn. We did do Facebook. And I felt one of the main areas where we had about 8 participants attend our meeting. So we felt it was a successful open house. And I felt reaching out to all the team members and their known sources, right? Even some of our friends, when we posted, only then they know, like, we are in a Toastmasters club and we are participating and how it's helping us. They might have seen you some difference in you, but they may not know where it's coming from or something. But when we shared that in the groups, then they come to know. So WhatsApp was, I think that was one area where we got most response. And Meetup also, we did have some luck in getting some of the guests from the Meetup, sign up from Meetup also. So those were some of the, Meetup, Facebook, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp were our primary sources for sharing.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Munjung, did you also use similar social media to promote your club's open house?
Yes, like Hemalatha, we use flyers and SNS for meetup.com and Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, that's what we use that too. But this time we, instead of focusing on getting new member, what we had was a Halloween time. So we might wanted to make it a little more fun for existing member and welcoming new members. So we made it optional costume and then encourage people to join in person, even though we do hybrid, and make up for the table topic session to actually choose the prop to talk off of their feed. So it kind of encourage people to come in person. So yeah, that was a little different than our normal time open house.
That's a nice approach to also consider our existing members and have fun with the open house. So thank you for sharing that. Rhoda, your club is a closed club. So does your PR strategy look a little different than an open club?
Well, we don't have any social media. We don't post on social media, but we do have the flyers. We post them near highly trafficked areas in the building, maybe near elevators, in the break room, break areas, anywhere that our facilities team lets us post these posters. And we also encourage our members to email their teams and let them know, hey, I'm part of this club. If you want to help improve your public speaking skills, you might want to come to our open house. And we also maintain an announcement alias. So anyone who has ever expressed interest in our club, they get added to an alias where we send out these announcements and we promote the open house there.
Got it. Creating a separate alias just for announcements that, especially in corporate clubs, might really work well, such that they might just get interested to join our club at some point. Lena, your club is open and online. So can you help us understand how the process is different organizing an open house in an online format completely, not considering any in-person element?
Sure. So I joined Toastmaster in pandemic, so I have experience only online meetings, and we have organized online open houses as well. So in terms of online open house, we do not have to do any physical preparation as such in terms of decoration, but we do have created our background for our own club. So and we ask our all members to use that background in order to get the feel of special event of open house. And also we did a lot of publicity about the event on social media. We distributed flyers on library, and also put WhatsApp status so that our friends and family can see and they join. Word of mouth, we focus on that. Also, we prepare well for the meeting. Like our usual meeting, we do preparation, but for open house, there will be like, we make sure that everything is perfect. All roles are filled. Everybody know their roles and responsibilities, and there will be backup as well, so that if anybody cannot join the meeting or they have some technical issues, there will be backup and meeting will go smooth. Also appointed Zoom master and to special person to communicate with guests in order to get their email ID or how they know about our club, to get all those information. So role assignment is important. When you are not meeting guests face to face, you are communicating them digitally or online. So it is make sure that everything is planned properly so that meeting will go smooth. Thank you.
Yes, planning is key, and planning for backup is even more key. So thanks for sharing that, Lena. Lipping, would you like to add, because your club is operating in a similar format, right? Both open and online.
I mean, regarding the planning, actually, as Lena mentioned, we do, as earlier I mentioned, we do lots of preparation because we really want to show our best. That's how we get attracted to our potential members. And from the very beginning, we didn't do like so much, I mean, we had, but at least kind of 3 weeks ahead. So for us, because our club is specialized in the debate, it's Agile, Articulators, speech and debating. So the prepared debate is our big thing. So we definitely need to hand down that one. Hey, who is going to do prepared debate and what's your resolution? Then we can prepare the poster with that topic, interesting topic, so attract people. And also, even we try to make like a prepare backup for the prepared debate. That one never lose, never fail. And for the role assigned, that's the same thing as Lena mentioned, just in case. Usually regular meeting, when the meeting at the very beginning of the meeting start, we can, there's some role not filled yet, we can fill it. For the light roles, we can fill the right way on the fly. But for the open house, we try to get everything set, so makes the meeting very effective and efficient. That's how we, prepare it. And also, when we prepare, also we have the mentor prepared, our senior debaters. Once the guests come in, if some other officers are busy with some other roles, and someone else in our club will try to talk to the guest through the chat, get their message, get their email, get their informations. And also at the end of the meeting, of course, there will be say hello and like what brought you here, that one, address our guest. At the end of the meeting, our mentor usually will ask some questions. Hey, what are you interested in most for the debate? And then the senior mentors may give some suggestions, and I'll try to, get the visitor deep into the debating topic. So next time they are coming back again. That's all the preparation we do.
Right. Yeah. Again, reiterating the point of preparation is key, and making sure our guests are getting that welcome, though it's an online format. So Judy, how do you handle a guest book virtually or in a hybrid scenario? Like, what is the process to follow up with these members who are coming in, and how do you plan that out in your club?
So for our club, when we posted our flyer internally, and we posted on different social media places within our company, as well as using email and kind of get the word out, hey, bring a friend. The first thing we did was create a form that people could use. And I used that form to understand not only who it is and what team are they coming from, but what were they looking at getting out of Toastmasters? Why are they interested in coming? That allowed us to really understand, are people coming in because they don't know what it is, or because they're really interested in learning how to do better prepared speeches. It gave us a good indication of what type of club meeting we really needed to have. Like, do we need to do a sales pitch, or we just need to have a fun meeting? So I took all of that information, and then we used that information to create our invite list, and then also create a spreadsheet. And then after the club meeting itself, our VPM sent out an email to every single one of the attendees and said, hey, thanks for attending. Here's information for you on what our club is about, what Toastmasters is about, and really kind of, that's when we started the dialogue individually with those folks that joined. So we not only have our intake of who's interested, but we also tracked who actually attended, and then sent out direct information to those who attended. And being the person that I am, I also would track, like, what is our actual return on investment rate? Did we actually get people to join as a result of our meeting? And we actually did. We had a really good return on investment for it. We ended up, I think, with like 10 net new joinees to our club after our open house last year.
Oh, that's amazing, and good job on being analytical about it, collecting some data about, oh, this worked and this was the result of it. I think we should all keep that in mind. Munjung, on the same note, like we were planning, like Judy just mentioned that they're taking input for what people are looking for. So does your club do something similar, or how do you reach out to the guest who walked into your club's open house?
We do guest book as well, and follow up by BPM. And once they join, we also greet through the member email that so-and-so just joined. And then we ask some simple questions to that new member, that what part of the Toastmaster meeting session do you like, and why do you like it? And seasonal question, what kind of fruit do you like in summer? Something that to warm up for new members to get used to our club. So that's that I want to add in terms of the new member, attracting guests to new member.
Okay, adding a personal touch surely helps, yes, when members feel they're being seen as a person, not just as a member or a number in our club, which is absolutely true. We are here all for community, whether we meet in a corporate club or in a community club. On that note, so Rhoda, share us your idea about selecting a speaker for the open house. Do you go for an extremely experienced speaker, or is it a newbie, or how do you go about selecting your speaker giving the speech at an open house?
So we have two speeches. I mentioned before that we try to have someone who is perhaps a more experienced speaker give a short introduction at the beginning of the meeting so that they can talk about how Toastmasters has helped them. But in terms of the actual example of a meeting, we just have whoever's on the schedule that day. I reach out ahead of time to make sure that they're okay speaking at the open house. If they're not comfortable doing it, then we'll find someone else. But the idea is to just have the meeting as normal. And so we've had beginning speakers speak at open houses. We've had more experienced speakers give a prepared speech at the open house. But I did have, in my former club, I was in a previous club, we would do two speeches, and one would intentionally be someone giving their icebreaker, again, if they were comfortable doing that at an open house. And then the second speech would be someone who is much more experienced. And the idea was to give people an idea of the growth that you could get in public speaking, but also show the different types of speeches that you would give as you advanced in the pathways. You wouldn't just be introducing yourself, you know, from introducing yourself to the club to maybe giving a more challenging speech. Does that answer the question?
Yes, of course
Okay.
it does. So we'd see like multiple strategies at place. One, we don't really have a strategy. We let anybody who signed up for that day go ahead with it. The second strategy is just do exclusively an icebreaker to say, hey, you can do this too. And then plan for two speakers instead to show a contrast to say, hey, here's where you start, here's where you go once you join our club. Does anybody have a different strategy while picking up a speaker in any of the clubs doing anything else?
I would like to add, if I can.
Sure.
Yeah, what we did last Halloween open house, we did a panel discussion. So we invited 4 members who were there for a long time. And the theme was how Toastmasters has helped them outside of the club. So that was a bit different and would be a good introduction for someone who is interested in joining. So that's my addition.
Oh, that's an additional strategy. Great. Talking about Toastmasters helping us outside. That's yes, Hema, did you guys employ a different strategy?
Yeah, one thing that we did was somebody had given like Toastmasters journey. It's one of in the pathways that one of the speeches that people given. Incidentally, like few weeks ago, we had a speaker give that, and we felt that would be very relevant. And so we asked them to repeat the speech. It was like a 12-minute one, but we asked them to shorten it like 5 to 7 minutes. So we don't have a long speech. That way, I felt that's good in the sense like that gave them an idea of where we begin as a Toastmaster and how long they have come along. So that was one topic we felt that kind of was interesting for a Toastmasters meeting, especially for open house. So we intentionally picked that topic so they can give a speech on that, the pathway progress.
Got it. Yeah, someone like one of our members talking about their own journey. So that's really interesting, illustrating, hey, this is what you can think about or embark on as you join our club. Very interesting strategies. I hope everyone is noting down, picking up some strategies that maybe they haven't tried at their club as yet. And talking about strategy, I did also want to touch upon folks taking up the roles. I think we did mention that we go with experienced folks taking up evaluator roles to give out a great impression or driving in the value of Toastmasters that members can actually take away. Is there any other strategy while picking up role bearers for, especially an open house? Now we discussed the speaker, but in general, like who is your Toastmaster? Is it somebody who's scheduled to be, or is it again like a newbie or a novice? Lena, would you like to go ahead and answer that?
Sure, yes. So Toastmaster of the day for open house for us should be experienced Toastmaster so that he can drive the meeting well. He knows the structure and everything, agenda properly. So that is important. Other than that, if newcomers are there in the club, then we will give them like timer, counter roles. And for evaluator, definitely experienced evaluator we will appoint. And in evaluation, it will not be like our regular one. Like it will not be strict one, but it should add value. Yes. So the overall motive of this meeting is to encourage new members to join the club. So they should feel welcome, and they should feel that this is a supportive environment where I can do mistakes and learn and grow. So that's the main point we remember while conducting the meeting throughout, whether it is speeches or it is evaluation or whether we are taking table topics. The table topics will be not too hard, not too easy for guests as well to participate. So these are some points we will consider while doing open house planning. Also about the last question, I want to say that yes, panel discussion we also arranged, and that was a good experience for guests and for our club as well. So that is helpful. And again, after panel discussion, question and answer with guests.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, definitely trying out something different and mixing up the experience group in an open house will be both a learning experience for existing members as well as a great way for even newer guests or newest members on our club understanding that, hey, they can take up these roles as well and demonstrate some event planning or organization skills at events like this. So thanks for sharing that, Lena. Living, did you have anything to add from your end? Because you are a specialty club as well.
Yeah, I do. While listening to everyone's, strategies for open house on our side, definitely, as I said, the prepared debate, that's a big thing. We want our best speakers. We want our best debaters to show off. And but then for the table topic, we usually encourage the guests to come in. And for another impromptu debate, sometimes, as we just mentioned, our Toastmaster Club is very supportive. It's not just a show off, and we want to encourage everyone. To feel comfortable. It's a learning environment for everyone, for all different levels. So that's why impromptu debate we can go easy. Some like beginners or like intermediate levels debaters just go do it, and then but for the table topics we always try to encourage the guests to have their first initial experience, or even sometimes if our guest looks like a very experienced guest, when they do their self-introduction, they mention, oh, I joined the debate, I have debating experience already. So we encourage them, even give them like one impromptu debate to try. That's how we get engaged when we do open house, get guests engaged.
Definitely, yes. The whole idea is that for our guests feeling welcome, feeling engaged, and wanting to come back to our club as a member eventually. What is a good cadence that you reach out to all these potential members of the club? Hema, is there a time frame that we go ahead and follow up with all those who walked in our open house?
We reached out, the VP membership reached out pretty much, I would say like that week immediately as soon as the meeting is over. So based on the interest, and some of them had even shared phone numbers. So for them, we reached out personally. And if it was an email, we just sent the regular email, follow-up email. And it's within another week, we just followed up again to make sure, if they're still interested or if they want to become a member. So I would say we followed up a couple of times, but within a very short time frame, within the next 2 weeks of the open house itself, so that it's fresh in their mind and they also can make a decision whether they want to join or not.
Absolutely. Judy, did you do the same for your 10 members?
Yeah,
or was it
pretty
anything
much.
different?
Well, we had 22 people sign up for our open house last year, which was very surprising because we weren't expecting that. I think the previous one we had 10 people show up, and so it was like way more than we anticipated. But we did the same thing. We actually, within 24 hours, we had sent an email. So we have a standard email template that we use, and we sent the email with the information. And if we did not hear back from one of the attendees, then we would follow up within a week. No more than 2 follow-ups. After 2 follow-ups, it's, okay, you're not interested, that's fine. We'll put you on the back burner. And then maybe later we'll reach out and say, hey, were you interested? What did you like? What did you not like? One of the other things we did was post-meeting, I actually sent out a survey to all of the guests as well, and actually asked specific questions about the meeting to say, hey, did you like the meeting? What did you like? What did you not like? Do you want to join? And I also use that as another trigger for us to be able to figure out who to actually really target for bringing in as a new member.
Right. I'm hearing a lot of feedback cycle, which is something that we even learn at Toastmasters in our evaluation. We get an evaluation, we get better for our next speech. So our meetings or open houses are similar as well. Collecting feedback from our guests could give us exactly the idea of what we can improve, what we can maybe focus on. Maybe they were impressed with our speeches, planned for 2 speeches. Maybe they were impressed with table topics. Think about more friendlier table topics and things like that. So like the whole world is going around data, so is our club. So don't miss out on that. Do make sure we are documenting this and understanding it to better plan our meetings in general. Having said that, now I know your clubs are the ones which do have interested members to kind of help out. And I would want everyone on the panel to go ahead and answer this question one after the other. Is there would be few clubs who are challenged in terms of members. They may not really have the strength. So what would be your tips to them to be able to attract newer members by hosting an open house? So I basically want all of you to maybe suggest some organizing strategies to clubs which may be struggling with their own membership, and that's the reason they're hosting an open house. So how do you advise they go about it? Munjung, would you like to get it started and offer your suggestions to?
Sure. So what we do is take that open house opportunity to give some recognition to the existing member in terms of the pathway, so that we can celebrate their accomplishment and also influence other members and guests, so that that's also, we can notice that, this particular member is in this progress. So I think it's a good stimulation.
Okay, celebrating your successes. Living, what would you advise such a club constrained on their current membership?
Regarding the open house, I mean, as Munjung just mentioned, if there's a little bit in that way in the open house to, make the current members feel rewarded, that's a good strategy. Actually, in our club, that's a thing. The past we didn't really get combined, integrated with our debating yet. The most rewarding part probably is still from the debating, the winners, and also the evaluation from our senior mentors. That's a very rewarding part. And that's how, we try to always encourage our current members. Also, our club, the most experienced members, it's just kind of like got addicted to the debating. Really love it. I don't have a better suggestion to other clubs at this moment.
No, that's absolutely a great suggestion. If your club focuses on a specialty skill, or there is a uniqueness to your club, which all our clubs are definitely unique depending on the value that they're providing to their members. So it'll be definitely a great idea to focus on that, even though you have a lesser member strength now, but there is this unique value that you're going to provide to the members coming in and already existing in your club. So thanks for that, Lipping. Rhoda, what would you recommend depending on your experiences with open house?
So if the issue is that there aren't enough core club members that would be comfortable helping to host an open house, I think that's what you're saying.
Right.
Then I would probably maybe reach out to a nearby Toastmasters club that is a bit more successful and see if anyone would want to do a guest role or help us with their open house if they're willing to do that. Maybe be a guest speaker just to fill in the roles of our club. If we are also looking for just people to come to the open house. I remember there was one time a few years ago when our club was struggling with getting new members, and we offered a contest that whoever referred the most people to attend the open house and those people showed up, whoever had the most people show up would win a prize. Unfortunately, that didn't work out very well. A lot of people didn't mention who referred them, but that is something that maybe could work for another club.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Toastmasters is a safe space for us to try new strategies as well, right? We might succeed, we might fail, and that's absolutely okay. We are all here to learn in various capacities. I did catch on something that Rhonda said, which is about seeking support from potentially another club, which is maybe a little more successful, have a little more members. And this is a reminder to all the clubs maybe struggling with their membership currently. You do have a whole chain of support available to you as well, who could be members that you meet at your club officer trainings when you're going for trainings. That's your pool of people that you can always network. That's a great place to network. Sure, we are meeting online, but if there is somebody whose thoughts resonated with you during your club officer training, include them in your list and reach out. Hey, we are doing an open house and you could be a potential member helping us out if possible. The next person in your chain of support could be your area director, who would be knowledgeable, who would be able to find you speakers or role bearers or evaluators if your club lacks core support within the group. So you don't have to worry and take on the whole burden and not do an open house when you do intend to do one. And definitely the area director can reach out to the division director as well to go ahead and support with the efforts of open house. I do want to remind everybody in the audience as well that the district structure is here to support our members, our clubs, in whatever endeavors they are trying. So do feel free to reach out and say, hey, we need help. We have an open house chair who can also help with best practices, help with speakers. So do feel free to reach out if you have questions, if you need support. So don't hesitate and take on the whole burden. So as we are coming towards the end of our session, I do want to go around all our panelists and share your top 3 secrets of hosting a successful open house for everybody in the audience before we open up to audience questions. So Hema, would you like to share your top 3 secrets for hosting a successful open house?
I think the first one definitely is planning, planning well ahead and starting early. I think that's one of the things so that we have enough time to plan and then socialize. I think that's one important thing that helped us have many people for our open house. And a second thing is, as we went through, I remembered that mentoring is one of the key things that was special to our club, and we had specified that in our during the meeting. So that also many people were interested in that. So if we have something special for our club, then your unique thing that you want to bring that about in your agenda and socialize that also. And third thing is having the thorough agenda and publishing it ahead and plan. I think again planning is the main key for a successful meeting. Having the speakers and everybody ready and prepared, so that's the main thing.
Right, preparation, planning, and mentioning specialty, and it could be mentoring that's being offered in the club. Thanks for that, Hema. Judy, what would be your 3 secrets? And we want new ones.
New ones. Okay, something different from planning, huh? I think one of my top secrets would be making it fun for not just the attendees, but also the people that are working the open house. making sure you have a really good speaker to encourage people to become engaged within the open house itself. And then the other thing is just really the publicity of it. It's not just posting it once. We posted it a month out, and then we posted it 3 weeks out. Then we posted it 2 weeks out. And then the week of, we posted it like 2 or 3 times. It really helped drive the knowledge that, hey, this is out there. And oh, by the way, if you saw it a month ago and you forgot about it, guess what? It's now coming up here on Wednesday. Let's go ahead and join. So I think that's really one of the big keys, is to publicize multiple times in the same channels, just to make sure that people who maybe weren't in there last time will see it and actually come to your open house.
Yes. So having a very effective and timely PR strategy, making sure you're making it fun for everybody. Thanks for that, Judy. Munjung, would you go next to share your secrets?
Yeah, in addition to previous advices, I will say make them welcome, feel welcome, so that they can feel comfortable, and also like all those benefits that we all know. So make it informative and educational. At the same time, make it fun, like Judy said. And one last thing is Toastmaster magazine introduced to that. They can get into online, or when we have handy the paper one, and then we can hand it to them. And even not only for open house, but for just regular meetings for our guests. So that's my 3 input.
Thank you so much. Yes, giving out some handouts is, as some of us are transitioning into the whole hybrid kind of scenario, rethinking our handouts, though being environmental friendly, can start looking at that as well. So thank you for bringing that up. Lipping, you're next on my screen. So what are your secrets?
They all speak up all my secrets. But I do think of one, it's not my secret. It's the San Jose Toastmaster as the in. I learned from that. It's a poster or graphic designer designed, which is really very attractive. Like, besides what topic, our president Jean is here, actually. I see you, Jean. And our graphic designer designed the poster very well. And besides, the topic, who is going to speak with pictures, and also providing some like very inspirational, like encouraging those words, a couple of lines sentence, like really, it's kind of, attract people. That's, I think, another secret.
So having a takeaway in your poster itself, that's where the journey starts. So very interesting. Rhoda, what are your club's secrets?
Well, since I'm going last, I'm going to repeat a few things that have been mentioned earlier. One is having the motivational speaker, having someone to talk about how Toastmates has benefited them. I think that that's really important for the open house. Another is the immediate follow-up. And I think I will steal Judy's idea of having the survey go out afterwards, so that you can hear firsthand from your guests what they liked about the meeting, what they didn't like, ways they thought it could be improved. But the third secret, maybe it's not really a secret, is that the Toastmaster should not only be experienced, but also someone who's very engaging and energetic, because that person sets the tone for the entire meeting. It's been brought up that it should be a fun meeting, because you're marketing the club, you're exposing the club to people who haven't been to Toastmasters before. So in a sense, it should be really exciting. And I think an energetic Toastmaster would help with that.
Definitely setting the right energy in an open house is really key, because that's first impression is being made here. So we want the best impression. Last but not the least, Lena, what would be your club secret to share with all of us here?
Yes, so most of the points are covered. Planning, publicity, and having a good time, especially for guests, is very important. Other than that, following up is also important point for attracting new members. Like whenever you are having any special event, any workshop, or any other events, any keynote speaker, email all the guests, let them know that we are having such events, and so that even if they are not contacting you after open house, they know that your club exists and these such great events are happening in your club, so they will contact you. So following up with guests is important after open house.
Definitely, following up is key, and having like a generic Google group of announcements or something for people who expressed an interest in our club is what I'm hearing. For corporates, you can always create a different mailing group for open clubs. Maybe a Google group creation where you keep posting on special events might be a good way to remind them. So this is pretty much the end of our panel, and I would like to open up the floor for some Q&A with the audience members. I let our chat moderator, John from Career Nexus Toastmasters, take lead on this and tell us what does the audience want to hear more.
Thank you, Raji. We have our first question of 8 from Philip Plath. His question is about results. For promoters of open houses, do they have a feeling for the percentage of guests brought in with open houses versus the Toastmasters International's Find Your Club search? What's your results?
Anybody wanting to share their experience? If you have a comparison, how many guests did you get at an open house versus using Find a Club tool? I think Judy shared some stats. Anybody else wanting to share your experience?
I can share. We had around 50% of people. I mean, we had like 8 participants, and 4 of them joined our club later. So it was a pretty successful open house, I would say. And I think the main, I haven't tried open. I don't know if we find the club wise, we would have got that membership or not. But since people came and visited our open house, I thought that had helped them join the club.
Surely. So yeah, we are seeing, what I'm hearing is we are seeing a higher trend of guests coming in through open houses. So hope that was helpful.
All right, our second question is from Jack Kellethorne. Do you have an enrollment forms with exact dues listed and a means to accept payment at every meeting?
We explain them the structure and how are the fees and how they can enroll. But since we are online, we are meeting online, we don't have form as such, but later on we follow up with guests and send them if they want to join.
That's what we do as well. We don't have a lot of information during the meeting about how to join, but that's part of the information that the VP of membership does in the follow-up email.
Ours too. We immediately follow up with the monthly due, if in case they want to join.
All right. Our third question from Zonker Harris from Sierra 49ers Toastmasters. Do any of your clubs have a one-page handout for guests to take away? It could also be emailed. And theirs talks about Toastmasters on one side and about the history of our club on the other. Does anybody have anything like a guest handout like that?
We have an internal website, and one of the pages on the website is dedicated to guests. So it has all the information. It has a couple of PDF brochures as to the benefits of Toastmasters, not only to improve your public speaking, but also for your leadership skills that you would gain being in the club. And we also talk a little bit about the Pathways educational program and give people a sneak peek into the icebreaker by providing, we actually provide the icebreaker documentation there so that people see what they're in for their first speech. But we send this out, again, this is part of the information that the VP of membership sends out, and it's also on the agenda during the meetings, so the guests that are in the actual meeting can see a link to that page.
Yes, Munjung.
Yes, we do. Mountain View Toastmaster has its own website. Thanks to our current VP of membership, Kat Newen. She designed it, so I put it on the chat so that you can take a look. So we don't have a handout, but we have a dedicated website as well.
All right. Our next question comes from Jack Kelly-Thorne. How much time do you allot to hear from guests at the end of your open house?
I'll answer this question. And usually, I mean, for the open house, we kind of dedicate the last 5 minutes. And also based on, I mean, how many guests we get. But I mean, if possible, we extend a little bit, not exactly cut out by the end of the meeting. So, but we even sometimes some guests are very interested in our club. At the end of the meeting, we adjourn the meeting. Our senior managers or officers will leave there, will stay there in the meeting and talk further. I mean, try to find out what's the most interesting thing for them, and then try to talk further, get deep attached.
Yeah, I'll second that. Because we're a lunchtime club, we try to always stay 5 minutes at the end of every club meeting just for miscellaneous discussions. But when we had our open house, we actually extended that so that we would have more time for Q&A from our open house guests. So about no more than 10 minutes, but at minimum 5.
Right, that perfectly dovetail into our next question. Joanna Tong has, what suggestions for conducting an open house for a community club that meets for 1 hour at 12 noon? Guests will likely be crunched for time. How do we handle that?
I would like to answer this question because our club is meeting at 12 o'clock on Friday, and it is exactly for 1 hour. So proper planning ahead is very important. Again, we have one speaker and 3 table topics, 1 panel discussion, question and answer for 15 minutes. So that's normally we do. Guests will have chance to ask questions as well. And in panel discussion, we will promote Toastmasters benefits. What are the benefits you are gaining from this Toastmaster International, etc. So planning such a way that we are giving as much information as we could, and also get guest participation as well in our meeting.
Judy, did you want to pipe in since you're
Yeah, I was going to say that we make sure that we keep a very strict time limit for our club. So especially with an open house, and when you have a lot of people, very dedicated, okay, we're only going to do 1 speech or maybe 2 speeches we did last time, and then very few table topics, because sometimes if you've got 20 people, you can go for a long time. But really looking at the clock and going, okay, we're at 12:40, we're done with table topics, time to pivot to evaluations. And having a good, strong Toastmaster who can actually monitor that, and then having people backing us up and watching the time and saying, hey, you know, we need to move on. That's really the key to getting through the whole open house in an hour.
right. And this is going to go back from Lena's comments a little bit and dive into a little bit deeper. Joanna Tong has a question for tips for engaging guests during an online open house. When do you do it? After the end of the meeting? My club doesn't meet in person, so she needs help.
So guest participation we can get in table topic section. We can include them for table topic. After panel discussion, there will be question and answer. Then guests can ask whatever question they have. And if anybody have more question and they want to stay back longer, one of the member from our club can stay back and answer their question after meeting as well. Also, we have their contact email ID. We can contact on their email, answer their questions there as well. And most of all, we call them, invite them in our next meeting, in our next Toastmaster meeting. Come join us and see how we are performing, how we are conducting different activities, and ask your questions. So,
Thank you. Our next question is from Jane Kenny. What are your thoughts about doing a special workshop for an open house versus a regular meeting?
I don't have that experience yet in our club, but we just recently, we got that idea, and I think that idea is good. I'm not sure it's totally because our club is special club at debating, but we want to, sometimes even when we do a flyer, we want to post everywhere because some people are not exactly looking for Toastmaster, they're looking for something about debate. That's one of our guests told us. I'm looking for some practicing debate. So they got our club. So we want to, like, especially for beginners, we want to at the very beginning offer some like a quick workshop, not a big one, not a heavy one, a light one. I think it's a good idea, especially for our beginner potential members.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's all the time we have for our questions. I'm going to hand this back off to Raji. Raji, take it away.
Thank you so much, John. I hope audience did have a lot of takeaways. If you do have more questions, feel free to reach out to us at quality@d101tm.org. If you have specific questions for any panelists, please indicate in your emails and we can reach out to especially get those answers from them. A special thank you to all our panelists for taking out time to share your secrets for your open house. And thank you to all our audience members for being such a gracious participants, asking so many questions. I hope you took a lot of notes and we'll see increased participation in our open house special that's going on. So thank you all so much for your time this evening or morning, depending on where you're joining us from. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Raji.
Thank you, John, for helping.